Hey guys, Igor Hernandez here. I'm one of the attorneys at Cornish, Hernandez and Gonzalez, where I practice injury law and first-party homeowner property claims. And today I want to talk to you about what to do if you find yourself the victim of a violent crime in South Florida, or really in Florida in general. And what I mean by that is, if you're out there, if you're at a mall or at a club or whatever the case may be, and something terrible happens, you get robbed and stabbed or shot or anything like that, any of those terrible violent attacks, here's what you should know. Number one, the first thing you should do is obviously make sure that you or somebody that's with you calls 911 so you can get the medical attention that you need. Secondly, you want to make sure that you stay in contact with the detectives or detective that are assigned to your case so that you can know exactly what's going on and so that you can have a line of communication to the police. Third, make sure that you speak to the police and you let them know exactly what happened, when it happened, and how it happened. And fourth, you want to go ahead and make sure that you reach out to an injury lawyer as soon as possible. Now, let me explain to you why you should do all the things that I just talked about. Then the first one's pretty obvious. If you're severely injured as a result of a criminal attack, then you should get medical help because that's just the common sense thing to do. The second thing is to make sure that you stay in touch or have line of communication with the detective, is because the detective is going to be key, not just for the criminal case, but also for the injury case on the civil side. And we're going to talk about that in depth here in a second. And thirdly, the idea that you want to speak to the detective and tell him or her everything that happened, how it happened, and where it happened, is because the detective is going to keep a file for the criminal case. And that file is going to be critical for your injury case on the civil side. They don't really overlap when it comes down to findings and whether somebody's arrested or not arrested. It doesn't really play into the civil case, but the facts that the detective writes, the things that he or she says that you said, the details that you give them, all of that's going to make it into your civil case. And so it's very important that you're forthcoming with them about it. Even if you normally wouldn't really care to speak to police or care to be involved in that kind of stuff, it's very important that you speak to them about it. And here's kind of how it all breaks down. Here's how it all works. When something terrible like a criminal attack, a violent attack happens, the police get involved and they don't really care about the civil aspect of things. They're not looking to build a case for negligent security so that you could get money to be compensated for your injuries. What they're looking to do is just prosecute the people who did that to you. But in that process, they're going to build a criminal file. They're going to interview witnesses, hopefully. They're going to interview you. They're going to take photographs. They're going to collect evidence. And all of that is going to be part of what you can use in your civil case in order to recreate what happened that day and prove to a jury that somebody's responsible. Now, if you stay in touch with the police officer, if you make sure to provide them all the information that they need and things like that, when your injury lawyer takes over, his or her job is going to be substantially easier. Because the first thing that we do when we handle a criminal case like this, not a criminal case, when we handle a injury case stemming out of a criminal event like this, the first thing we do is we request the police records so we can start recreating who was there, what happened, and why it happened. And without the criminal record or without the criminal file, it makes our job substantially more difficult. Also, it's going to make your case a lot weaker if when the police interviewed you, you didn't want to speak to them and you didn't want to tell them what happened, because when we have to prove to a jury that you were not responsible, that this is what happened and this is where it happened, it's going to be kind of strange or kind of hard when the defense introduces the fact that you did not speak to the police at the time of, that you did not provide them any information. And also the fact that you don't speak to them and you don't provide them information is going to make the police's job harder, which is going to result in an incomplete file, so that then, again, it makes your job harder when it comes down to bringing an injury case for what happened. And the bottom line, as it relates to why or how you can bring an injury case, we've done a couple videos on this, but the basics are that property owners or people who control property in Florida have a responsibility to the people they invite onto the premises, onto the property, to keep them safe from foreseeable criminal activity. And so if you're at a club and they have very little security and it's in an area of town that's a difficult area that has a lot of violent crime, and something happens to you as a result, you get robbed, you get stabbed, you get shot, whatever the case may be, then the club owner would be responsible if they did not provide the requisite level of security, taking into account what the neighborhood is and what the criminal activity in the neighborhood is leading up to that point. So anyway, guys, that's it for now. I will catch you again next time.